Well, I want to just take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the National Coalition to Protect Civil Freedoms. About a year and a half ago, a group of then 18, now it's 20 organizations, got together and said, look, these problems that we've identified are just overwhelming, and we have to address them in a collective way. Each one of these organizations was touched in some way by the kind of Islamophobia, preemptive prosecution, prisoner abuse that was going on. And so we formed this coalition to try to do it on a collective basis. We believe that all of these cases are fakes and phonies, and that there's a mountain of exculpatory information in the Justice Department showing that these people are innocent, and the Justice Department simply refused to turn it over. So what we were trying to do is to get legislation through Congress that would require that all of these cases be revisited as their own Inspector General has recommended. And if they did that, and if they found that there was exculpatory information that was not turned over, this would require new trials, possibly release all the people out, all the prisoners. We're the only organization doing it. We're pushing this hard. This is our legislative attempt to get everybody out and to try to correct what has been a decade of injustice. And another legislative action that we're pushing is to try to get pretrial detention, solitary confinement, regulated by the judiciary. Right now, it is regulated only by the prisons. The prisons get to decide who they lock up in solitary confinement and who they don't. And the courts take the position, it's just a matter of security in the jail. It has nothing to do with us. And so they use it with the Justice Department to try to extract confessions, to try to get people to cooperate, to try to break people down, to try to torture them. And frankly, that's it. The conditions in the U.S. jails right now are not significantly different than they are in Guantanamo. They're simply little Guantanamos. And we have to bring this under judicial control, and they have to come up with real reasons to say why these people are dangerous. It's not just that they were charged with something dangerous. And by the way, why is being charged with terrorism for keeping a bag of socks for somebody in your apartment for a week more dangerous than being a serial rapist or killer? I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyway, so that would be our second legislative attempt. We are trying to prepare a database that accurately records information on all these prisoners and all the cases, including the briefs and the charges, so that lawyers can look at them. They can get information about expert witnesses, how to cross-examine expert witnesses, what different tactics have been tried, and so on, so that we can try these cases better. We've been very unsuccessful up until now, and we need to do a better job of it. We have a group that is working on media outreach, trying to change the narrative of how people understand this, to get articles published, and I think we've been very successful. If you go to our website, you see the website up there. We have a lot of articles published up there. We publish a news digest, and we're hoping with that to change the narrative. And finally, perhaps most important, we are trying to maintain an outreach to the prisoners and their families. Above all else, we do not want these people forgotten. We do not want their stories forgotten. We do not want them to suffer any more than they have already. There are young children that are being brought up without parents or with only one parent, and we want them to have as normal a childhood as we can possibly arrange, and we need to get to know them. And it's true. I'm so pleased that Hidayah was able to come here today and talk. It takes an enormous amount of courage for people to stand up and talk. But your story is very important, and it has to be told, and so does the story of all of these other people. And I have to say that Sister Charlene back here has been stalwart in her efforts to try to contact all of these people and make sure that somehow they are cared for, that they know that we care about them, and we want them in a safe place. I feel that I go around the country depressing people. This has been a very depressing afternoon, and I just want to end with a few good things that we are doing and ways that you can help. One of the greatest ways that you can help right now is to become a member of the National Coalition to Protect Civil Freedoms. And there's a very practical reason for that. When I try to get legislation passed through dysfunctional Congress, I need to have a little clout, and I want to be able to say, I've got 1 million members standing behind me who agree with me. So I would love to see you do that, and you can sign up online, and in this envelope there's a little section over there that shows you how to do it. So I hope that you do nothing else, you go over and sign up for the National Coalition today. Another thing that we can do, and Sister Charmaine will have some more information, but we can provide it to you, is to adopt a prisoner. We have a program going right now in which we're trying to at least get them some canteen money, the poor ones, people that don't have any mosque or family to help them, just so that they can get some canteen money they can use to buy things in prison. And if we could get 100 people to donate $100, as Ramadan is coming in, this would be a great way to show the spirit of Ramadan. We would really appreciate that. Another way is to support a defendant. I was tremendously heartened by what happened with Carlos Montes, because he was basically, public pressure forced backed the DA down, forced them to drop the charges, or at least give a good settlement. And I would love to see that happen with all of the Muslim defendants. So if we have your information, if we can call on you, we can call on everybody, say in Michigan, and say, in Michigan, there is a very important case out there. We believe this person is innocent. We need everybody to show up and to support this case. And say, as members of the public, we don't agree that this person should be preemptively prosecuted. So we need that information and your willingness to get out. We need people to get out and talk to their congressman. And of course, you have a wonderful congressman here. You have John Conyers, and we love him. But there are many others around, and we need to be able to put pressure on Congress to get legislation passed. We need to have a chapter of the National Coalition started right here. I would love to have you guys, members of not only members, but members of a chapter here. We started one in Albany, and this would be a great place to start one here, and I think we have some leaders that would do it. And finally, I would love to have some of you go out with organizations that you know and set up educational events so that we can come and talk to you as we're talking to you here. What we need your time, we need your talent, but we also need the resources. We've got to pay people's expenses as they go around the country. You know, Yassine Arif was my client. I represented him, and after he was sent off to jail for 15 years, we were very good friends at that time, and once they put you into the prison, he immediately went into isolation, into solitary confinement, and they started to move him around the country. And after just 2 weeks, I found out that he was in Lake Placid, which wasn't that far away, so I ran up to see him because we had no contact with him at all. And they brought him up to me out of solitary confinement. Now, Yassine was a Kurd. He had spent all of his life being shot at and bombed at by different people, he'd been half starved to death. He was tough. He'd been through an awful lot in his life before he came to America. And when they brought him up to me out of solitary confinement, he was so dazed and disorganized he couldn't even speak. And he tried to formulate words, and he couldn't do it, and he just began to tremble. And finally, as I was sitting there, I realized the only thing I could do, I took him over, and I took him in my arms, and I held him. And he broke into tears. He broke into tears and sobbing. And that was after only 2 weeks in solitary confinement. And I've never gotten over that. And I'm saying, if there is anything I can do to get him and all the others out, I want to do it.